What's going on, everybody? Welcome to another brand new installment of Renegades Reviews, exclusively here as always on the Casa D18 Studios channel. I, of course, am your host, the Renegade JJ Williams, and today I'm going to be closing out the Jumanji Trilogy with 2019's Jumanji The Next Level, starring Dwayne Johnson, Kevin Hart, Jack Black, Karen Gillan, Nick Jonas, Alex Wolff, Sir Darius Blaine, Madison Eisman, Morgan Turner, and Colin Hanks, all returning to their roles. And we introduce Danny Glover and Danny Devito to the fold. What's going on, everybody? Thank you for joining me here for another brand new installment of Renegades Reviews. Here today to close out the Jumanji saga with the majority of the cast back from the second film. A couple new additions, and let's get down to it, shall we? Our film takes place 2 years after the events of the last film, and Spencer, Fridge, Bethany, and Martha have all gone their separate ways to different colleges, but they have decided to have a reunion around Christmas time. Spencer and Martha have taken a little bit of a break from each other, and Spencer's a little bit down on himself. Spencer feels like he isn't the same man that he was when he came out of the last Jumanji adventure. He decides to get the video game console out and plug it in, and even though it's broken, it works just enough that it sucks him back into the game. And he attempts to get some of that bravery and courage back because he thinks that entering the game, he'll automatically return to Dr. Bravestone, who he played as the last time. When Spencer doesn't show up for the reunion, Fridge, Bethany, and Martha all get worried. They go to Spencer's home and they're greeted by Eddie, Spencer's grandfather, as well as Eddie's former business partner, Milo. They discover that Spencer has re-entered Jumanji, and they begrudgingly decide to go in and retrieve him. Once they're back inside the game, Martha discovers that she is once again Ruby Roundhouse. Fridge enters the game as Professor Sheldon Shelley Oberon, which was Bethany's previous character. And Martha and Fridge discover that Bethany didn't enter the game with them at all. Dr. Smolder Bravestone and Franklin Mouse Finbar are now being occupied by Eddie and Milo, respectively. Martha and Fridge try to explain to Eddie and Milo the rules of the game and what is going on when NPC, non-playable character, Nigel shows up. And Nigel explains that Jumanji is suffering from a massive drought. And in order to defeat the game, the group must end the drought by recovering a necklace known as the Falcon's Heart, which was stolen by Jurgen the Brutal. Meanwhile, Bethany, still out in the real world, seeks out Alex Vreek, who was in the game the last time, and tries to get him for some assistance. She doesn't know where else to turn to. He's the only person that she can think of to go to for help. Nigel transports the group to a Jumanji desert, and he drops them off in order to pursue Jurgen. And while on their first quest in the game, they encounter a skilled thief known as Ming Fleetfoot, which is a brand new character to the game, which is being occupied by Spencer. Spencer apologizes to Fridge and Martha for the predicament that he's put them in. and he joins the team in order to help get everyone back home. As they attempt to escape the desert, they face new challenges as they attempt to gather an in-game item known as the Jumanji berry. When they find the Jumanji berry, they also discover a pool of glowing green water, which allows Fridge and Martha, when they touch it, to swap characters. So Fridge becomes Ruby Roundhouse, and Martha becomes Professor Shelley Oberon. They touch the water again and switch back, but they make a note of this water. Eddie and Milo continue their bickering, and it's revealed that their friendship ended when Milo sold the diner that they co-owned together behind Eddie's back and forced Eddie into an early retirement that he wasn't ready to take. The group travels to a forest just beyond the desert, and as the group attempts to cross a series of rope bridges, they are attacked by a group of mandrills. Once they succeed in crossing the bridges, they encounter Jefferson Seaplane McDonough and a new character, Cyclone, a horse, which are being controlled by Alex and Bethany, respectively. As they recuperate from the mandrill attack, Eddie discovers that Milo is terminally ill, and Milo came to see Eddie at the house in order to try to make peace, make amends before he dies. The two reconcile, and they move forward in their friendship, and the group works together to make it to Mount Zatmire, where they discover a river with the same green glowing water that allowed Fridge and Martha to trade characters earlier. They decide that Eddie and Milo, specifically, as Dr. Bravestone and Finbar, are horrible in their characters. So they decide to have Spencer, Fridge, Bethany, Eddie, and Milo all enter the water in an attempt to swap characters. They do, and Spencer, Fridge, and Bethany emerge as their characters from the previous adventure. Dr. Smolder Bravestone, Franklin Mouse Finbar, and Professor Shelley Oberon, respectively, while Eddie and Milo emerge as Mean Fleetfoot and Cyclone. Shortly after switching characters, Jurgen's men capture Eddie and Milo. Spencer, Martha, Fridge, Bethany, and Alex all split up and infiltrate Jurgen's fortress in order to rescue Eddie and Milo and obtain the Falcon Heart. While they're climbing on an ice wall to get up to the fortress, Martha asks Spencer why he abandoned his old life, as well as her. And Spencer admits that looking at Martha's college successes on social media made him kind of insecure. Martha consoles him and reminds him that she and his other friends are there for him when you're feeling scared and insecure. When the next battle commences, Spencer pursues Jurgen while the rest of the team fight Jurgen's henchmen. Spencer discovers that Jurgen is vulnerable to the Jumanji berry, and this incapacitates him just long enough for Spencer to steal the Falcon Heart and defeat Jurgen officially. He gives Eddie the necklace, and Eddie and Milo fly up into the air, let the sun shine upon the necklace, restoring the magic, and defeating the game. They return the Falcon Heart to Nigel for safekeeping, and the group is shocked when Milo decides that he wants to stay in the game and protect the land of Jumanji as Cyclone the Flying Horse. They get their customary congratulatory handshake from Nigel, which sends them back to the real world. Once they return, Spencer and Martha seemingly make up and resume their relationship, and Spencer teaches his grandfather about video games. Spencer, Fridge, Martha, and Bethany have their reunion at Nora's Diner, formerly known as Milo and Eddie's, the business that the two friends owned before their falling out. And having gotten over his resentment, Eddie actually enters the diner for the first time since it was sold. The new owner of the diner is Nora Shepherd, Peter and Judy's aunt from the first Jumanji. Nora tells Eddie that she's having an issue with management, and Eddie convinces her to hire him as the new diner manager. Our film comes to its conclusion, and during a mid-credits scene, the heater mechanic, who Spencer's mom had hired at the beginning of the film, finally shows up. He notices the video game system, and he reaches for it. We then cut back to the diner and witness a flock of ostriches rush past Nora's diner as Spencer and company witness the entire incident. This one was another really fun one. I liked the fact that the majority of the cast returned, for one. Granted, it was only done 2 years after the previous installment, which made it a lot easier. But still, the cast returned. It had the same vibe and energy as the second installment of the series. The additions of Danny Glover and Danny Devito were just awesome. The inclusion of Nora from the original film, kind of tying those ends together, was really, really cool. All in all, I just feel that the third one was right up there on par with the second installment as being still better than the original. And again, it's really rare that, in my opinion, you find a series where the first installment is the weakest. But I have to say that that's what we have in this situation. And again, I'm not calling the 1995 Jumanji a bad movie, because it's a great movie. I just feel that Jumanji Welcome to the Jungle and Jumanji The Next Level took the game and the mystique of Jumanji and took it, pun intended, to the next level. And it just became so much more vibrant and fun to see what Alan went through when he was stuck inside the game, because these characters were inside the game as well. I think maybe that was the thing that was missing from the first one, is we know Alan got sucked in the game, but aside from the fact that he knew Van Pelt when Van Pelt emerged, we don't know a whole lot of what happened to him while he was in the game. These two games, we see what happens to them when they get sucked inside the game. And I feel that was the missing link from the original. What do you guys think? Let me know. Leave your thoughts in the comments. If you're watching the premiere over here, if you're watching on demand, leave them down here. When it comes to my rating of Jumanji The Next Level, I'm going to give it 4 stars. I don't feel it's as good as Welcome to the Jungle, but I still feel that it's better than the original. Just my opinion. Let me know what you guys think. Again, if you're watching the premiere, tell me over here. If you're watching on demand, tell me down here. Let's get out there on the social media, get those hashtags trending. Hashtag Casa D18 Studios, hashtag Renegades Reviews, hashtag Renegade Returns, and of course the ever popular hashtag Shenanigans. We interrupt this episode of Renegades Reviews for an important announcement about
merchandising.
Merchandising? What's that?
Merchandising. Come, I'll show you. Merchandising, where the real money's made.
Make sure you go over to teespring.com/stores/Jeff Meacham Network for all the t-shirts you see here from the West Coast professor, Jeff Meacham himself. You can get shirts for the Jeff Meacham Network, Talk Wrestling, as well as the red and gold Meachamania shirts. And while you're there, don't forget to get your shirts of the Casa D18 Studios Brotherhood, the Dads on Wrestling shirt, the Renegade JJ Williams, Statboy Sports Bar, and the hashtag StatBoyApproved shirt. Make sure you go over to teespring.com/stores/Jeff Meacham Network and score your shirts today. Don't forget to do what that commercial just told you. Get out there, go to teespring.com/stores/Jeff Meacham Network. Get you all your official merchandise of the Jeff Meacham Network, your Jeff Meacham Network logo shirts, Meachamania, Talk Wrestling. Get you your t-shirts of the Casa D18 Studios Brotherhood. Get you your Renegade JJ Williams shirt, Statboy Sports Bar, Dad's Not Always on Wrestling, and so much more. Tomorrow, back here on the Casa D18 Studios channel, when I bring you yet another brand new installment of Renegades Reviews. Make sure you tune in as we begin our next trilogy, the Oceans Trilogy, with Oceans 11, starring George Clooney, Brad Pitt, Matt Damon, Andy Garcia, Julia Roberts, and so many others. You're not going to want to miss that trilogy as we kick that off tomorrow, Oceans 11 and the Danny Ocean Oceans Trilogy. Thank you all for tuning in. I greatly appreciate each and every one of you that have watched the premiere and that tune in on demand every day to my episodes. Thank you all for your dedication and your support. I appreciate you guys, and I will see you guys next time.